You can hear the TV's loud and blaring and her lights bright on. That's how she goes to bed. Oh, she locks the door too. And her door's locked as well. I am a working mom. Time to get up, honey. Time to get up. There's just not enough hours in the day for me to get everything done. From waking up, to getting the kids ready, to getting them to school, to getting all my deadlines made, to answering emails from clients, emails from my bosses. It's just not enough time in the day. You know, I look at some of these stay-at-home moms and sometimes I get jealous because I think they have time on their hands.
People think that I stay at home, drink coffee, watch TV, paint my nails all day, but it's so far from it. I have to, get kids ready, drop off, pick up. I'm running errands for everybody and their moms. I think I miss working outside the home for the adult interaction. But I mean, it's great, having my family and being able to take care of them. Because everybody doesn't have that opportunity.
Well, that was great. Today we're going to talk about one of the hottest ongoing debates in the parenting world, working moms versus stay-at-home moms. Moms are some of the hardest workers in the world. Whether they stay at home or work outside the home, a mom's work is never done, it seems like. Moms who work outside the home and moms who stay at home aren't so different, at least not when it comes to guilt and worry. Roughly 1/3 of all moms working in or outside the home say they often feel guilty about their contribution to the household. And nearly half of all moms admit that they're their own toughest critics. Well, there's an estimated 5.6 million stay-at-home moms. Wow. And that's a 22% increase from recent years. And 71% of moms in the U.S. are considered working moms.
So I'm a gastroenterologist, and I practice and live in the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan. I'm a big sports fan.
He became the Rhodes Scholar representative as well as the homecoming king at Ohio State.
What we're trying to do is replicate what you would have, for example, in my office. We want to be real and answer questions that are tough sometimes. Take a topic and really understand it and develop a solution. At the end, we'll help the patient that's in front of us and also help the patients at home as well as in the studio audience. That's the essence of what we want to do.
Thank you for that warm applause. I always appreciate it. Thank you. Today we're here to talk about moms, stay-at-home moms, working moms, and the big debate. To help us with this episode, we have a special guest, my wife, Callie. She works very hard every day. She produces our show. She cares for our 2 children, and she has a 3rd kid, which is me, and she takes care of everybody. So please welcome her to the show.
Yay. Thank you. Hi.
Yeah. So, this is going to be a lot of fun because this is kind of like being at home, except I always tell Callie that at home, I let her win all the debates. And you know why?
Don't let him fool you.
Because I've been taught by my stage manager, Fred, that a happy wife.
That's right. That's right.
Yes, and so I say, yes, dear. Yes, of course,
let him
of course,
fool you.
of course it is. Yes, and I said. Then she said, "What did I say?" I said, "Of course, of course."
Yes.
And so, but all seriously, so tell me, is it difficult to juggle everything, to be a working mom and take care of 3 kids?
I mean, you see it every day. It really is tough. It's tough on both sides, though, so I don't want to sit here and say working is harder than staying home. It's just different, and I think one of the things that's unique about our situation, as most of you know, is we have 3 kids, 1.5.
You mean 4 kids, because I'm the 4th one.
That's right, 4 kids.
And then we have a little guy who kind of rules the house. And she'll tell you more about that when we come back. She'll tell you how we kind of juggle everything together and our partnership together. So you don't want to miss that. It'll be fun. Yeah.
I think one of the things I really had to let go of is the clean house. And every once in a while, Partha will attest, I'll kind of freak out and be like, who lives like this?
That's what we do.
This house is ridiculous. It's so dirty
do.
around here. I can't stand it.
Right now, at the Alcera Auto Plaza in Grand Blanc, we have way more inventory than we've ever had in our history. Bad for us, but really good for you.
Announcing the Alcera Emergency Inventory Reduction Sale across all brands.
Details coming up. At Alcera Chevrolet, we've got more Chevys in stock than we've ever had, and we've got to move them out, which is great news for you.
Payments under $100 a month during our Emergency Inventory Reduction Sale at Alcera Chevrolet.
You'll do better at Alcera.
So we were talking with Callie, and she was joking off stage that it's really hard to keep up with me and take care of me. But back to, so we have 3 kids. You were saying, go ahead,
Yeah.
Callie.
Well, we have 2 and 1 on the way, and then Partha, of course. So we have a 10-year-old, and then we have a 1.5-year-old, and then we're due in just a few months. So, it's busy in our house. It's busy because I also produce the show along with Partha, of course, and we do have a team of people, but it's a delicate balance, and I'm not going to say it's always easy, but we are fortunate that we can create our own schedules, and I try to fit in a ton during nap time.
We love those LA calls.
And the LA calls late at night.
At midnight, it's 9 o'clock for them, so they're happy and we're happy because the kids are in bed.
So what ends up, you're right, but what ends up, and this is where my wife guilt comes in. What ends up being, left behind is a clean house and a full refrigerator. But the nice thing is that Partha's such a great partner. We can go to Meijer in the middle of the night and all that jazz. Because I think one of the things I really had to let go of is the clean house. And every once in a while, Partha will attest, I'll kind of freak out and be like, who lives like this?
That's what we do.
This house is ridiculous. It's so dirty
do.
around here. I can't stand
okay.
it. And I think I'd also let go of those preconceived notions about what my mom's house looked like and what I thought a clean the expectation of the clean home. And so now I just don't invite anyone over. It could be as dirty as that. And if you've seen my car, it's a little scary. And my parents can see my car every time I go over there, and they always remind me.
But here's the thing, though. It's that our expectations and our partnership. So whoever you're partnering with, you let them know this is what our roles are. So if you're working and taking care of the house, you need your partner to be a support.
That's right.
You cannot say it loud enough. Whether it's the male partner or the female partner, it can go both ways. You have to have the support. And if you don't have the support, that's when it crumbles. If you expect that that your wife or your husband's working all day and taking care of the kids, and then you expect them to do everything at home, it just doesn't work. And that's when you get problems. So.
And I think the expectation, and we'll talk about this more on the panel because we were talking about it backstage, I think a lot of the guilt and the expectation comes from ourselves.
Correct.
Because I don't think the stay-at-home moms that are making the beautiful cupcakes, with the little Oreo top with the worm coming out.
We haven't got that yet.
I don't think that they are saying, boy, those working moms are buying store-bought cupcakes. I'm saying that to myself. And I know, I bring up our daughter because she's 10 and she's cognitive and she can obviously, she knows what's going on. I don't think she cares about that cupcake. And once I let that go and I realized what she really cares about is spending time together, whether that is making cupcakes or taking walks or riding bikes or whatever that is, it's not really the cupcake, and I had to let that go.
And it's kind of interesting, that's a learned behavior. You don't always know that even if you're grocery shopping and it's task-oriented, you still are spending time. Which leads to the next question. How do you think this is affecting our kids? I mean, do you think it's a good or positive effect or a negative effect?
Well, let's talk about Charlie, because she's 10, and I think it's
That's our daughter.
actually
Yeah,
a positive. I really think it's positive. She comes on set. A lot of you know she's always on set. I'd like her to see that you can't really, in life, you can't rely on other people. And my dad always taught me that. He said you can't rely on other people to do things for you. And although I just want her to see that she can hold her own, and that she can make her own living and make her own way, whether or not she does ever get married or something, God forbid, ever happened to her significant other or her husband. And I want her to know that I think we're good role models in that way. And when we bring her to set, she gets to work.
And I
she
also
is
think
working.
that she sees the leadership roles that women have. One of the most important things that shaped my view of women was my mom, my sister, who taught me that
true.
women are leaders, that you can do anything that you set your mind to. And Callie, you show that to Charlie, and then you'll show it to our sons as well when they're born, and when he's born, and when he grows up. And that's critical. So tell me about the balance that you do, and what happens at the end of the day. How do you reconcile with yourself with the guilt and not the guilt, and how do you make yourself happy?
Well, I think the biggest thing is having you as a partner that understands all that. And when the house is a complete disaster, we know, like right now, we're shooting and the house is it's a disaster. But you just have once you let that go.
It's not as bad as you think.
Oh my gosh. In my mind it is. It just, when you let that go, when you get home late and you're leaving early, it leaves a hard, it's not the whole family, it's myself. I'm dirty too. I'm messy, or I leave my clothes around, it's late at night.
How about your friends though? You have some stay-at-home moms and that are friends and working moms. We only have a minute left, but if you could tell us how that relationship has changed.
Well, my two closest friends are stay-at-home moms. And I will say, once I got over the guilt, I am super grateful to them because they helped me so much with my kids. Thank goodness they're there. And I had to get over, and I still am working on this. When they watch my kids, our kids, I really want them, I want to reciprocate that.
Right.
And it's sometimes hard. We have meetings, we have this or that, and I ask them to help us. And I'm always like, and I'm racing home, or I'll take your kids this weekend, or I'm racing home so that I'm not late. I just don't want to take advantage of other people. So I'm really grateful that I have these two
and
beautiful
they don't
women.
Even mind. They love the fact.
I think they do
They love
love
the
it,
fact,
yeah.
but you feel like you should reciprocate in some way.
I do.
Those are great bits of advice and a kind of an introspective view of our life. Thank you very much, Cal.
Of course.
She'll be back again in our panel. When we
great.
come back, we'll have a dynamic discussion between working and stay-at-home moms. You don't want to miss it.
I'm looking forward to it.
My kids are not morning people whatsoever.
They take after their mom?
Well, yeah. So it's a lot of yelling. I'm sorry. It's a lot of soft talking. Please get up. Oh, rub their back.
Today, people are doing lots of things to go green. But there's still more we can do. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a developer, or a consumer, greeningdetroit.com is your information portal to products and services you need to go green. Go to greeningdetroit.com to find out where you can do more. greeningdetroit.com.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We have a group of dynamic moms, both working and stay-at-home, joining us to kind of talk about their daily life, daily joys, chaos, feelings surrounding, this long-running debate. So I'll introduce all these lovely ladies, and I'll start with Jen and Missy and Davida. These are our stay-at-home mom. And then we got Kristen, Jackie, and my wife, Callie. These are the working moms. So, we'll kind of talk about what a typical day is like for each of these folks. I'll start off with Jen. So what's a typical day for you in your life?
Wow, that's
As best as you can do.
I don't know what a typical day is. It
changes every day, doesn't it?
It changes. I have a teenager and a middle schooler, and they are very busy and active. And every day, I think I have it figured out. They change it up on me and keep me on my toes. So.
All right. So how about you, Missy? What's an average day like for you?
Exactly. I don't think there is an average day.
Really? So it kind of changes.
It absolutely changes, and we have commitments at school also. I mostly speak to the school year because that's when we're busiest. But
yeah, you're a PTA president. Awesome.
So
she has a lot of responsibilities besides.
And each day is a little bit different.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And Davida.
Yeah.
So what about your typical day?
Well, I have toddlers, so there's no day is ever the same. I start out thinking, okay, we're going to do it this way. Doesn't happen.
But we were talking off stage. You get your boys ready in the beginning, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I get them ready. My aunt told me a long time ago, get them dressed first.
You're
And
right.
I started following that, and things can kind of move smoothly, but no breakfast, no anything. And so now they know they want to get dressed so that they can eat. So that's the way I get them dressed, and then I can get the day rolling. But it's never ever the same.
Oh, that's
Okay.
good advice, because
Yeah.
sometimes a day can go, it'll be noon and no one's dressed.
Yeah.
So that's great.
How about you, Kristen?
Well, anyone who knows me knows we're a pretty chaotic, crazy family.
You love it, though. You love that way.
We do. We thrive off that. We're hot messes. So it's, my kids are not morning people whatsoever.
And they take after their mom?
Well, yeah. So it's a lot of yelling. I'm sorry. It's a lot of soft talking. Please get up. Oh, rub their back. And then it's like, oh my gosh, we gotta go. So it's crazy, but it's fun.
But you
a
love
lot
it.
of fun.
And Jackie, how about you?
Oh, I make a well-balanced breakfast, and we all hold hands and sing Kumbaya.
Yeah, that is it.
Yeah, it's so good.
They light candles.
mean, it's chaotic. We start there because that's what we relate to. You know, working with kids. You know, that's why in movies, what do they say? Kids and animals?
Yes.
Like, they're kind of the same thing. And I mean that. We love animals, right?
Absolutely.
But it's chaotic, and I wouldn't trade it, but at the same time,
It's a lot of work.
It's exhausting some days,
it's
you know.
exhausting.
It really is.
It makes or breaks the day.
What about you, Cal?
Well, you
talked
can
about it a
go
little
from
bit.
like snotty noses and diapers and like scrubbing the oatmeal off the floor to like, oh, I'm on an executive phone call. You know,
Sometimes
so
at the same time.
yeah, and you're trying to like, shh, you know, or just let me run in here real quick. So it's a delicate balance, but it's a lot of fun. And you know, like we talked about earlier, it's great to have a good partner in that.
Yeah,
so.
and you know, I'll tell you just 30 seconds for those guys who are also kind of juggle that, because there are a lot of dads who do this too now.
That's right.
And it's the same challenges, you know, whether it's your mom or a dad, it's the same challenge. It's being able to say, listen, you know, I'm going to want to take care of my kid and be present for them, but at the same time thinking I've got to do all this stuff for work. But I'll ask each one of you, you know, there's some challenges. So the stay-at-home moms, do you think that sometimes the working moms have more fun?
Some days.
A different kind of fun.
Yeah,
A different
tell us.
kind of fun.
Yeah, what kind of, what's a different kind of fun?
Well, I think that like getting dressed up every day can be fun. Sometimes we might stay in our pajamas all day.
Yeah.
And interacting with all kinds of different people, you know, I mean, as much as I love interacting with my kids and everybody else's kids, it's, you know, awesome to hear that you guys just met, you know, some famous person or had lunch with, you know, a room full of interesting people when I made peanut butter and jelly and, you know,
And you made it good.
it was good peanut butter and jelly, but
But one thing that you were telling us is you always have a house full of kids.
Yeah.
And I think that's really neat about you and how you, I mean, you have a dynamic home. It's one of those hangout kind of houses.
which
so.
makes it messy. And
What about the working
Those
moms?
things
Do
and
you
stuff
guys
too.
do you guys feel like they have more time? Because you know, you seem like you run out of time all the time. Do you guys feel like the stay-at-home moms have all the time in the world to do these things? What do you guys think?
I totally feel like that. Like my little one will say, oh my gosh, tomorrow's Valentine's Day, and I'll be like, oh my gosh. She's like, I need 30 invitations and it's midnight and you're the worst mom ever. And I'll be like, well, let's just cut some white paper and do you know who's in your class? And she's like, can you text your teacher? She'll be like, it's midnight.
Yeah, but that's when you tell your child you're coming home with a boatload of candy, all these like, you know, you had mentioned like the lollipop with the mustache and the whole like, but you don't have to do it.
Yeah.
You're still coming home with it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
right, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, right. We talked about that backstage. Thank God that there's stay-at-home moms because then they can go on field trips because who else is going to attend to help chaperone?
And Kelly, we talk about this too, even when I'm driving the kids up to school and I'm always late. I'm always late. So I'm driving and I'll be in the line and the parent line will be so long to drop your kid off. And the kid will get out and kiss their mom and then they'll wave. And I'm going, oh my God. The car will be moving. I'll go, get out, get out, get out, go. And they're like, oh my God.
We have to take a quick break. More exciting stuff, but we come back.
Because if you are strong in your own choice, I don't even have time to judge your life. Like, I'm already in mine, you know? So if I'm questioning myself, then I'm like, oh, well, maybe I didn't want to be a working mom, and so they're judging me, and so I'll judge. I mean, it's just. It's,
So if you're strong, you're saying if you're strong with who
Absolutely.
you are, that won't matter.
There are plenty of stressful situations in life, but buying a car doesn't have to be one of them. In fact, buying a vehicle at the Alcer Auto Plaza in Grand Blanc is stress-less. At Alcer, you always get our best price up front. You never have to worry that you paid too much or that someone else got a better deal. There's no pressure, no pushy salespeople. Plus, the convenience of one-stop shopping with more than 2,000 vehicles to choose from. Stress less at the Alcer Auto Plaza in Grand Blanc. Shop us 24/7 at alcer.com.
We're going to have a great discussion with moms and talking about stay-at-home mom versus working moms outside the home. And Davida, you know, we left off with the comment that you made that you actually partner with some of your working, you know, outside the home working moms. And go tell us about that.
I do, because I worked at first with my first son, so I know what it's like to have to get to daycare right at that 5:30 mark. They're unreasonable times, and we're always late too. You know, I have the babies in tow. They don't walk fast enough. But yeah,
I'm like, shake a leg.
They're crawling.
yeah, I have to help out. And that takes like releasing all of the judgment and what are you doing all day, you know, because that is like the worst question.
I eat bonbons and watch soap operas.
What do you do all day? My house is messy too, because I'm not there.
Yeah, you're
It's
busy.
actually cleaner when I'm away.
Well, sometimes I would imagine, you know, on the weekends and in the summer, it's tough to entertain them all day. So you've got to go. You got to go somewhere and get them out of the house and
The
do
pool.
something. Yeah, and I'll tell you, I can totally empathize because going to the pool and or the beach and all the stuff you have to schlep is not fun. And then you've got like a million dirty towels, and it seems like the older ones are even harder to keep up with because their stuff is in every room of the house.
And they always have to be stimulated. Always. They can't just sit
What are we doing
and chill
today?
out.
What are we doing
What
today?
are we doing in the next
I'm
hour?
bored. I'm bored.
My friend's leaving. Can I have another one over?
Let me ask you this though. Let me ask you guys about this, the judgment. You know, I know all of you seem like we're pretty cohesive and you guys are a partner with each other, but tell me about the judgment that you get when you're a working mom and the judgment that some people give you. You know, I mean, not the folks here, but tell me about that. Do you get some of that?
Well, I've done all sides of it, like many of us. You know, I've worked full time, I've worked part time, I've worked from home, I've been a stay-at-home mom. So it's funny because I feel like I become that person that people feel like they can kind of divulge depending on where I am in my life at that given time.
Sure.
And there is that judgment, and I don't think it helps. And what we're sitting here talking about stay-at-home versus working. I mean, just that VS is so.
Exactly.
It already puts us on separate
Defensive.
sides, you know, and so, and we all do it. I mean, that's exactly how we refer to it. But I think that there's definitely that judgment. But without the stay-at-home, without the working, the world can't keep.
Correct.
I mean, where are the doctors and the nurses? I mean, you may go to a female gynecologist. You're not like. Working mom. You need
That's
her.
right.
Yeah.
The majority of medical students now are female.
female.
Because women are smarter.
Right.
We finally acknowledge that women are just smarter and they're going to do better than us.
And we're
Thank you for saying it on TV.
I know it. I am fully acknowledging that, and we're 5 years behind in maturity at all times. So I've all acknowledged that and come to terms with that. So, you know, the thing is that I think it's very important. What Callie said was that your expectation, whether it's your mom, your aunt, your dad, whoever, kind of when you were at your formidable years, told you this is your role, and if you don't fulfill it, that's when you, I think, start to fail, even more than other moms. I think, of course, other moms will, stay-at-home moms, they say, oh, you know, you're working. Yeah, so who's watching your child? And is someone else raising your child? And, you know, so there's
The most judgmental, though, are the ones who question their own choices.
Absolutely.
Because if you are strong in your own choice, I don't even have time to judge your life. Like, I'm already in mine, you know? So if I'm questioning myself, then I'm like, oh, well, maybe I didn't want to be a working mom, and so they're judging me, and so I'll judge. I mean, it's just.
So if you're strong, you're saying if you're strong with who you are, that won't matter.
Well,
Absolutely.
We're all women and we're all moms, and we have to respect each other before.
We're on the same team.
We're all on the same team.
Exactly.
We're all trying to accomplish the same thing: raise productive, beautiful, giving children. That's what we all want, right?
And we can do it different ways. I mean, I know you thrive with like BB, like, you know, that is you.
Do you get that from me?
You know, and it works. It works. You know, making a PBJ may not do it for you.
It does not.
You know, and in which we can flip flop the next day too. You know, it's like where I am kicking them out of the car now. Like you must go, but you know it. We need one to have the other. It's just, it's a balancing act. It's a fine line.
And we should be grateful for each
all
other.
like
Grateful.
yeah.
I mean, the day that my kid gets hurt, thank you for telling them it's going to be okay when I'm not there. You know what I mean?
And the kids adjust. You know what I mean? Like, if I were to give you my children, Jen, they.
Well, thank you.
She's asking now.
They're very well behaved children.
Actually do this? Like, you would put me to shame. You know? I feel like so.
They raised the bar so high, Kristen could never.
Yeah.
But vice versa, you know? And I think as women, we need to show our daughters and even our sons
That's
that we
exactly
can do not
Everything.
necessarily everything at once, but you can do where your heart and your drive.
I love that.
Absolutely.
I love that. And
leads
that,
you.
I think that's an incredible statement to make, is that we need good role models, you know, for our children, because there's so many people that have these roles for women that are in, you know, put in little spaces. And I think the more we talk about this, is that women can do anything. And for me, it was a privilege to see that my mom, even though she was at home, showed me that you can be a leader, you can be you know, staying at home or working outside, and my sister. And they taught me, they were role models for me to help me to understand. And that's a critical point. The second important point, in my opinion, is that what you all said, is that whatever makes you happy, you know, you have to define that, and nobody can take that away from you. And you said that best. It's like, you know what, if you're strong and happy with what you are, nobody can say you did this wrong. That was great discussion. You know what, we gave, I think, a lot of people solutions with what we talked about. When we come back, the favorite part of my show, which is taking questions from the studio audience. These ladies will have a lot to say, so stay with us, okay?
Do you feel that your child is more educated if you're a stay-at-home mom?
My kids are more educated on like Mario Brothers, Nickelodeon.
Right at Home provides care mostly to senior citizens in their homes.
This gives me an opportunity to be in my own home.
Clients can expect that our caregivers are matched to their needs, that we're responsive, and we provide ongoing support until the care ends. Our mission is to improve the quality of life for our clients and their families.
I can go to bed at night, I can go to work, and I know that everything is going to be fine.
Call us for a free in-home consultation at 877-329-3451.
Thanks, ladies, for being here and sharing your opinion. That's great. It's now time for my favorite part of the show, which is questions from the studio audience. Let's see, do we have any questions today at all? Anybody? Let me come up there. All right. This young lady here. This man, what's your question?
As a working mom, what are some things I can do to stop feeling guilty from not being home all day?
It's a great question. Working moms, not feeling guilty.
I'll answer that. I would say it's a lot about quality versus quantity. So the time you are with your child, make sure it's really something special.
I'm glad you asked that in that way too, because for me anyway, I don't feel like stay-at-home moms are judging me. I am judging me.
That's exactly right.
And like I talked about before, once I got over that, and once I hit about 30, I got over that, I was better able to define who I was and who I wasn't. And hopefully my kids are cool with that.
And if you have to set maybe a certain time, like if there's an hour during the day, you know, when you get home, just like you schedule everything else, you know, schedule from 4 to 5. Like I don't touch my phone, don't touch, you know, you don't answer anything, no emails, and then just do like, what is our day, what are we going to do today? And sometimes we'll walk around the block and the kids are like, that was awesome. You know?
And I think let's the dad perspective is that, you know, by the time I get home, you know, my kids are going to bed. My son is definitely going to bed. So what I do is, I like exactly what you said, Kristen. It's quality, not quantity. I say be present. Be present. Even if it's a few minutes, if you're present with your kids,
Partha,
you don't feel the guilt at all.
I'm sorry to interrupt, just to add, I mean, he really does do that. And it's something that I am working on. It's something that you were really born with.
Well, thank you.
Bombs will be going off. The phone will be ringing. You know, and you are present with our kids, and it's really easier said than done, and something that I'm still working on. So.
And the thing is that what I say to myself is that, you know what, my sons and my daughter will appreciate what we're doing for them. When we're doing the show, everything stops, right? Even you're working constantly. But what I want to say is that when they look back and say, you know what, Dad and Mom really did right by us, and that's how. You know, I take away the guilt, because dads get guilty too.
Sure.
So that's a great question. Any other questions? Yes. Yes, ma'am. Lady in the pink, or orange, actually.
I have a friend who is adamant about stay home, quality time with her son. But then after a couple of years, financial burdens really kind of wrecked that situation. And she took in a couple kids. What happens now to the dynamics of what's going on and the quality time she was going to give her son?
Yeah, this is an important question, especially the financial question. I want to ask both your groups, and what do you think about what she said?
Well, kids don't know that they're poor.
Yeah.
Until you tell them, exactly.
That's right. That is right.
So
that's exactly right.
Walks around the block, you know, you don't have to buy their love They just want you.
But also, if you're a stay-at-home mom and you have to go to work, what are you teaching your child? You're teaching your child that no matter what, I'm going to step up and be part of this family. And
Exactly.
everyone in this family is expected to do their part. And there's nothing that I won't do for my family. That's what it says.
That's exactly right.
And that's a great message.
And what's happening
it's
is-
a great message, not just for our daughters, for our sons, like it was for you, Partha, growing up.
Yeah, what's happening is that also in our state, I mean, the roles have gone all out the window. I mean, there's so many people that lost their jobs when we had this this depression or you know the economy tanking. Is that sometimes, I'm glad you brought this question. Sometimes there's no choice involved because you have to put food on the table. And when you put food on the table, I think you're doing right by your kids 100% of the time. And so it's a quality time or quantity, whatever when you say it. But you need to understand that when you're doing this for your child to make sure they have food on the table, your kids will always understand that. Any other questions that we have? Great, we got a really lively audience here. Yes, ma'am.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you feel that your child is more educated if you're a stay-at-home mom?
So if you're a stay-at-home mom, do you feel like your kid is more educated, your child is more educated?
Teaching your children is the most difficult thing, especially a new concept. They'll take it from teachers, they'll take it from friends or neighbors, but when it comes to mom knows nothing.
That's probably universal. I don't know that that's a
Interesting.
stay-at-home.
That is hard. I mean,
stay-at-home mom thing.
it is not easy.
What do
You
you-
had just said they'd get frustrated.
They get
Well,
super frustrated.
And I think now they have so much more homework than we ever did. And you
You're
do
right.
have to become involved with these kids. And I'll tell you what, I don't like to say, I tell them, I have 2 college degrees, get that done, independent learning, get her done. But they need your help. And I don't have patience, I don't. It's hard. It's
I
tough.
think both sides of the table. Go ahead.
I do think though, as a when I'm doing the stay-at-home mom thing, my kids are more educated on like Mario Brothers, Nickelodeon.
And that's a key.
Angry Birds.
I think it's quality. I really do think it's.
Maybe we don't have it in us like these ladies do.
But I do think it's quality. What happens is that whether you're stay at home or you're working, if you take the time and really do what's needed, I think kids can be just as smart. We have to take a break. We'll have more wonderful questions when we come back.
We should drop our kids.
I've been a stay-at-home mom for years now, and my daughters here are getting to an age where I'm looking to get back into the workforce. For the ladies who have done both roles, how is it that you reintroduce yourself or market yourself to the employers after your resume has kind of been blank?
I live alone and I have a caregiver that's with me.
We started probably a year ago, needing to find some assistance. We chose Right at Home. They've been wonderful.
This gives me an opportunity to be in my own home.
I can go to bed at night, I can go to work, and I know that everything is going to be fine. It was the absolute right choice to go on board with Right at Home.
Call us for a locally owned Right at Home in your area at 877-329-3451.
Great questions. Great questions. Do we have any more questions at all? Anybody?
We have a lot of them.
All right. Oh yes, ma'am.
For the working moms, is it healthy and beneficial to have daycare available at the workplace?
I think it depends on the age. You know, when they're little like that and they don't have after-school activities and homework and things like that, then it's really nice to have them close by because the schedule is kind of open. But once they have their own lives too, and it's like I try to work around their lives and their activimes and their homework and things
They
like
need
that.
a secretary. Most of them need secretaries for all that.
No, their schedules.
They really do.
Hello, taxi.
So I'm looking for an executive assistant for my children.
That's a great question because companies who have that, I think, can attract really smart and women that want to do that because then if you have that covered, then you really you can kind of fulfill both those wishes. I think that's a great option if people can do that. And for companies, if anybody's watching that, I think you get an advantage when you do that. So it's a great question. Appreciate it. Any other questions? Yes.
I wondered how all of your partners feel about your decision to either work or stay at home.
Well, you know about my decision with Callie.
Well, for us, I mean, when we were getting married, this was a discussion that we had right before we got married and said that one of us would always be home with the kids while they were young. I never assumed that it would be me, but I'm pretty happy with my job.
Who else? Anybody else?
That's nice.
Krista?
Well, we've always had a ton of family support, so I've always worked. I've never not worked with my children. And so we've had, my parents or his parents help out. He loves it because I have the best bosses ever. And so he's fine. You just adjust. And actually, he's home a lot more with our kids. It's kind of that role reversal. And you're seeing that more often where men are staying home with kids.
Absolutely.
And we are in that realm. And he's always kind of been home, and he's great with our girls. And it works very well for our family. And
I think Missy said it best. You have to have both the partners agree upon the role, because if you don't, that's when you have problems. If Callie and I did not agree on what our roles should be, then what happens is that then you have problems. But if you do and you work in concert. So here's the other thing though. When you come home and she's been, let's say she's been with the kids and my son is like, and then it's good to put that load of laundry in as you're walking in, and then shut it. Because it's one small thing, but it shows that I understand what's going on, and not just like, hey, honey, how you doing? They put my feet up and get that ESPN on, chick, 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 chick. Oh yeah, look at that home run. That's the thing that you have to understand. I think it's that partnership that you stick that load of laundry in, boom, as you're walking in, says, listen, I've got your back. And if you have the person's back, ain't got no problems. But if you don't, it's a big issue, because then resentment builds in. And when resentment builds in, that's when you have issues. Because forget about other moms giving you guilt. I mean, you have problems in your own family. And if you have single parents, I mean, that's a whole different ballgame. When you think about all of the problems that you can think of, when you come home, it's you, and that's it. Whether single dad or single mom. So lots of issues. Good question. Any other questions that you have? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I've been a stay-at-home mom for years now, and my daughters here are getting to an age where I'm looking to get back into the workforce. For the ladies who have done both roles, how is it that you reintroduce yourself or market yourself to the employers after your resume has kind of been blank for all of those years?
That's a great question.
Yeah. I'm in the exact same position right now. Both my kids are going off to middle school this year, and it's an identity thing. All these years you put aside those things while people were climbing ladders. You're falling off the ladder, and you don't exist anymore. I was once told by a business owner that he would not hire me given all my experience, which is not sitting around doing nothing ever. It's creating things from the very beginning. We've been very active in our schools and development of our curriculum and everything. And just hear somebody say, well, no, you don't exist on paper was a really hard blow to my ego. So I'm in that position now where I'm finding that the platform for my volunteer time is waning because my kids are not, parents don't want, or teachers don't want parents in the classroom anymore. They don't want us to see what's happening anymore. Don't look. So that's a great question, because where do we go from there? So, you had some good advice.
Well, I just think, first of all, don't sell yourself short.
That's exactly right.
Because there are so many things, whether you're working for financial reasons or you're working, just some of the things you were telling me that you've done, in a volunteer basis. Why does your resume have to say at home? Why can't it say fundraiser, of X amount of dollars per year, and
she's very active in the school board and grant writing.
Exactly, and all of these amazing qualities that you have and these things that you've done. It's just all about packaging it, but also times have changed. You can make money doing what you love. It's no longer like punching the clock, or sliding down the dinosaur. It's
sliding down.
Fred Flintstone. Anyway.
Fred Flintstone.
Yeah, right. But what is it that you do? What is your go-to thing? Everybody goes to you because you bake make these cakes, or you are great with organizing, or whatever it is. I have a girlfriend who's been home and she's an amazing organizer. How much? And she doesn't do it for a living, but she could. An event planner. There are just so many things that you could do and still have the flexibility. Think about who you are and what you really want in your life, and the money will come with it.
And to add to that too, it's an opportunity to recreate yourself.
Absolutely.
Because you're not tied to anything. You're not bound to any work hours or things like that. So you can find your passion and find a place for yourself. That
and I think both of you are
make
saying
you
the same
happy.
thing, is that what you have to do is be comfortable with who you are. Have your identity and be proud of it. When you do that, what you portray to anybody, whether it's the workforce, whether it's anybody in society, is this beautiful and fulfilled person that has a lot to offer. The moment you start thinking, oh, I've been out of the workplace for 20 years, 15 years, 10 years, I'm probably gonna have a hard time, they'll read that. So we've done a bunch of shows on being mindful, being in the moment, and being comfortable with what you are. Whether it's dating, whether it's finding a job, it's that when you exude that, people will say, I want that. And I think that's exactly what Jackie's saying and Jen's saying, is that, you say, what I have to offer is extremely attractive, and I guarantee you people will take that. This is smart. We have to take a break. We'll have more wonderful questions when we come back.
Are you or your loved one suffering with chronic foot and ankle pain? Did you know that foot and ankle pain can lead to serious complications? Hello, my name is Dr. Anthony Weinert, and I wrote a new book called Stop Feet Pain Fast, a user's guide to foot and ankle health, which is designed to give you the information and the answers that you need to maintain the health of your feet and ankles. Call toll-free or visit my website at www.stopfeetpainfast.com to request your free copy of my book, Stop Feet Pain Fast, a user's guide to foot and ankle health.
Any other questions? Oh, yes.
Oh,
we have
great.
a male
We're hearing
perspective. Yes, sir.
From a male, yeah.
Thank you, doctor. When I grow up, I want to be a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of concerned maybe there's still a stigma attached to that. Is there any advice you have to overcome that?
I will tell you that I think that the society has come a long way, but a lot of people will judge you because they'll say, the rules are different for guys. When you are taking care of your kids, and I'll say it, they'll call you a loser. They'll say that you are lazy, that you are, all those are not actually the case. What you're doing is making a conscious decision to say, you know what? But the two of us have to divvy up our roles. And what we have to say, and tell me if you agree with this, that we have to work as partners. And it may be that at a certain time, your job may be better than mine, and one of us has to stay home, and you can be a stay-at-home dad. I think I applaud you for that, and I say, you know what, thank you very much for saying that for a lot of dads. And I want you ladies to comment on that. What do you think about that?
I think that climate has changed. I think with this downturn in the economy, there are so many more dads in the school environment and picking up and participating more. It's refreshing, and we love seeing dads around.
Yeah, we like guys in the group.
Yeah, but the guys often get a parade for doing the things that women do.
Because we're not as well trained as you are.
Yeah, but
we have to be trained. Yeah, see, we
But
have to be trained.
I think that now,
Will they
it's so funny
babysit
because
their
my
kids?
husband, my husband is a stay-at-home dad, and he'll be like, I'm a good dad, and I'm like, well, so's our neighbor Carl. He's a good dad too. So it's just something. And like they said, there is just such a role reversal nowadays. I mean, dads are staying home all the time, and it's very accepted.
There's so
but
much
I
more
want to tell you, though,
participatory than-
even if it's well accepted, you have to understand that it's a challenge. I'll tell you from a guy's perspective. I hear it. I hear it when there's a stay-at-home
I hear what
dad.
you're
I
saying.
hear it from people that say, you know what, that guy, he's at home, and they think it's they're doing nothing. And so it's a challenge, but you're right, it's changing.
But we know they're not doing.
That.
We
Go
know
ahead.
that's not true because they're doing what we've been doing. It's
but
a hard
you're not
job.
saying it. You know who would say it? Other guys will say
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Well, tremendous questions. Thank you very much for those questions. I appreciate it. And thank you very much. When we come back, we'll have Partha's prescriptions. Please don't go away. That's great. Thank you very much.
Willowbrook Manor Nursing and Rehab Center is not just a nursing home. We're a family providing the care and recovery you deserve. Our Home Express program is an innovative patient-centered approach to physical rehabilitation, incorporating streamlined communication with local hospitals and service providers, allowing patients to reach their maximum functional potential. Willowbrook Nursing and Rehab Center, working to get you back home.
Today, we all participate in the discussion. Now, I'm sure Callie will agree with me. All moms working outside the home or at home need to own their choice and support one another. So what can we take away from today's Partha's prescriptions? Moms should be proud of your choice to work or stay at home. Also, moms, find your passion and follow it. you and your children will be happier and healthier. Also, let's stop judging each other and support yourselves. Moms, also, you have the hardest job on the planet. Pat yourself on the back and be proud of the kids you're raising. They're our future. For more information on stay-at-homes, moms versus working moms, or to revisit any of the information covered in our show today, visit our website at www.askdrnandy.com. Also, we'd love to hear from you. Join the discussion on our Facebook and Twitter pages. Just search Ask Dr. Nandi. Lastly, there's a beautiful word in the Hindi language that literally means the light in me honors the light in you, and that word is namaste. So namaste to each and every one of you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. All right. Davida.